We're back. Yep.
We're back July 22nd.
Yeah.
I am 58 years old today, but
Happy birthday, Paul.
thank you. But I got a better one.
Oh,
My older brother, uh, his birthday is July 26th, so that will be before the next Friday edition. And he will be 60 years old. Boom! 60.
Ooh.
He'll probably be heading to the Skyway to take the plunge because at
Oh,
60,
oh no,
he's done.
no. Oh my word.
So anyway, happy
That's a
birthday,
joke, not
Jody.
for real. Yeah.
Happy birthday to me. And thank the Lord we're still here. All right.
Remember, the internet world sometimes takes things literally, so we don't
And
mean that literally.
I am
For
not worried
that's
about the
all
internet
in
world
jest.
at all. I am not worried about being politically correct at all.
Yeah.
I can talk about my family all I want to.
I was watching this video earlier of this older guy, and he was being interviewed, and he was like, "Well, what if someone feels that that's offensive?" And he goes, "I don't care about their feelings. I'm too old."
Exactly. And sad, even though it's
Like,
funny, the
oh
sign outside says, Happy birthday, Paul. 58 is the new 30.
yeah, yeah. Hey, that
Yeah,
makes you younger than me, man. The heck?
exactly. I'm like Benjamin Buttons. All right. So today's topic, and it's really interesting because literally I had two different calls this week about non compete clauses. And I don't,
Okay.
briefly, it is simply this: you want to go to work for someone, and in the case in the book, which is different than the two friends, this one was one doctor was going to work for another doctor and his facility over in
Okay.
Pinellas County. And so the doctor says, okay, well, I have a plaintiff, personal injury plaintiff's practice here that's very successful. I need a surgeon come work for me. But if you quit, then you can't, the non-compete clause, you can't work within, it really wasn't a big deal, honestly, 15 miles of
Okay.
my Pinellas office, which honestly, that's not far at all. You just jump over here to Tampa or otherwise.
Yeah.
You can't work within 15 miles. And the terminology was you can't solicit business, the patients, prospective patients, referral services, employees, independent contractors, so forth and so on. Basically just
Huh.
means, and if now this one was for a 2-year time limit, time period.
Okay.
Uh, if the, just so you know, if the agreement, the non-compete clause is too long or too broad, then they won't uphold it. I think
Okay.
2 years is about the maximum, and a certain distance would be basically where this doctor more or less operates, so to speak.
Okay.
And so now there was a $500,000 buyout. Okay. And so the case goes to the doctor opens up a practice, starts
Yeah.
soliciting business, starts soliciting patients. Uh, the doctor that hired him basically files a lawsuit and asks for a temporary injunction to enforce the non-settlement. I mean the non-compete agreement. Well,
Okay.
the circuit court said no, for whatever reason. Long story short, said no. Well, the Second District Court of Appeal said, yeah, absolutely. What this doctor has done violates the non-compete. There's a 2-year time period, which is reasonable. There's a 15-mile, and as the crow flies, which is reasonable. And there was even a buyout, which this doctor opted not to take, to take. And so, they enjoined him from working. Now, mind you, he had opened up a practice and
Hmm.
was going along.
Yeah.
So and so another one is a friend of mine works for a food distribution company. All right, and he made a lot of money, and I
Okay.
guess there's more than one of these big food distribution companies, but this one's nationwide. But he had a better deal. I guess he got a better deal. It's like anything. You
Sure.
meet people, you have contacts, all that LinkedIn crap. I don't know, but
Linked it.
but he
Yeah.
but he called me and
Ruin
says, "Look,
lives.
he
Yeah.
emailed me. Here's my non-compete. Is it valid?" And it was for 18 months. I said, yeah. It was a
Hmm.
certain area. It was 18 months and it listed, the things that you can't do, solicit business and yada, yada. And so I'm not sure what he plans on doing, but I know that and I don't know if he, did leave and went to the competitor, if they'd actually sue him or not. My guess is if they're going to have you sign a non-compete, they're probably going to enforce it.
Can I ask you some like tough questions and
You
take a
can
chance
ask
on
whether
throwing
I
them
can
out there?
answer it. Time will tell.
Right. Okay. Cool. So let's say that that guy is in a networking uh, group, and he drives. We had somebody in our networking group today drove 50 minutes to get to our group.
Mhm.
What if somebody else from his area that he's not supposed to be competing in also drives and networks at the same network meeting, but outside of his area? How would something like that, like, what's the rationale, or, is that an issue?
I'm
Is
not following
networking
you.
with someone, so
The
is
non
networking with someone soliciting, if they happen to,
Oh yeah, no, yeah. If
okay,
you're soliciting and networking, yeah, you can't call it a pot instead of a pan or a kettle
right.
and think it's
Okay, great.
different.
So
Yeah,
now the guy, the scenario I was giving was the guy is coming from 50 minutes away, but there's another person in his area that's also coming out here. Now they're
it
not.
depends. Whatever the non-compete clause, if there's a reasonable, distance,
Yeah.
and honestly, oftentimes it's Hillsborough County would be,
Okay.
Or Pasco County or
Okay.
Pinellas County would
Yeah.
be the distance, not just 10 miles.
Right. Okay.
Uh,
Fair enough.
and so the one, which is girlfriend of mine, a female friend of mine, hers is all Polk County. Now imagine
Wow.
Polk County's huge. So if they put 10 miles, well, that's nothing for Polk
Yeah.
County from one end to the other.
Sure.
And I'll tell you, here's the sad thing for both of them.
Yeah.
You have a new message. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like a marriage, to be honest.
Mm.
You
Okay.
go into it, everybody's in love,
Right.
everybody's happy, and
Yeah.
there's not going to be any problems throughout the marriage until what?
Oh, money.
Till the divorce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't
And
we
so
start
once
talking
the
about money?
divorce
Yeah. Yeah.
occurs,
Right.
shiz
Yeah.
with a Z hits the fan.
Right.
Well, that's
Everybody
what
gets along till
happens
they
with
don't.
these
Yeah.
non-competes. You go in, I'm making good money. I like you. I like the company. I like the this. I like the that.
Hmm.
And then what happens? Things can go south in
Ain't
any
fast.
employee-employer relationship.
Yeah.
And 10 years, maybe 10 years. This one was like 10 years. She worked for this individual. 10 years down the
Wow.
road, it's no longer hunky dory. The one employer offered her like 50% more money, and single mom and so forth and so on. And she,
Yeah. Oof.
she wanted to take it, but they're enforcing the non-compete clause, which I believe is 18 months, maybe a year. And
Hmm.
she's like, can I do anything?
Hmm.
I says, I don't think so, but if you want to
What
try,
if the company that she goes to work for is
hire a
already
lawyer, that
advertising in
does
the
that
area?
type of work. Say again, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I said, what if the person that she's going to work for is already advertising in the area? They didn't just start, and she goes to work for them.
Well, I mean, no, that's always typically the case. If
Right.
you're going to work for someone who's established and typically speaking has
Right.
money and so forth. But even if it's a startup, more important, even if they don't, well, that's why I want to hire A, B, or C, because you are established. You do have relationships.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
want, as a new employer, I want to
Yeah.
utilize that to
Yeah.
get
True.
myself business. So
True.
the fact that you are a startup or you've been there forever
Hmm.
doesn't matter. In fact, the startup has more reason to hire you and employ
Yeah. For
you
you to be able to
away
draw on your
from
contacts
someone who's
spheres.
been in the community and who has contacts. So no, so I would say this:
Yeah.
the bottom line is certainly read the non-compete clause, but 100% put in there a buyout clause that you would be able to utilize should that occur. I'll give you an
Okay.
example. I believe um, um, Kevin Kiermaier for the Rays
Okay.
next year there's an option. So his contract's up this year. So KK might be gone from the Rays, people. Spoiler alert. But because they have
You
to
didn't
pay
just
him,
spoil anything you're not supposed to, did
spoiler
you?
alert, they have to pay him $13 million, right?
Okay.
Or they have to give him $2.5 million buyout for next year. My guess is KK is getting $2.5 million. Sayonara, thanks for coming. I
Right.
just don't see the Rays paying $13
Yeah.
million for one player
It's a
on their
lot.
budget.
It's a
Well,
lot.
the same thing that you can analogize to this non-compete clause, put in a buyout that if that time
Sure.
comes, you can take advantage of.
Sure.
Because, think about it. If
Yeah.
you've done something for 10 years or 15 years, and now all of a sudden you can't work for 2 years,
Can't have a career. What are you gonna do?
well, you can't leave your employer.
Right. You're a
Uh,
hostage at that point.
yeah.
What if they don't want to
Uh,
give you a raise? I was reading an article today where this person was being paid less than the average person in their industry. They had
right.
pulled the numbers. And they were one of the top performers at the current company they were at. So they went and asked for a raise to bring themselves up to the average, and they were refused. And then his friend was a career headhunter, so he found him a place that actually was going to be willing to pay him a little bit more than the average. So he moved and took a 25% bump in his pay by switching
Well,
like
and again,
going to work for
remember,
another company.
yeah, exactly. Remember, this is a contract.
Yeah,
So it doesn't have to be one-sided, all employer, all the employer, whatever they want. Put in there, look, if, if there's a dispute or if there comes an opportunity where I can make more money, then by way of example, you the employer have the right to match that.
mm-hmm.
And if you do, then okay. If you don't match it, then I have the right to leave. You can put that
Yeah,
in the non-compete clause. You can put in, look,
okay,
I you have to pay me, like you said, within the top 25 or 10% of individuals in this business, or else the non-compete clause, I can opt out of it.
so those are some
So,
things up front to be looking for
oh,
if
it's a
you sign
buyout,
anything like
a
that. Yeah,
buyout, like the employer has a right of first refusal to match, your projected income from the new company,
yeah,
things of that nature.
got you.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and so you should, but they don't. People, I'm happy to get a job. It's a great company. I'm making X amount. This is all going to be good. You work there for, you're 20 years old. You work there for 20 years. Now you're 40. This is all you do. This is all you
Yeah,
know. But now you can't get a job for 2 years
right.
anywhere in the general area of where you've been working because of this non-compete clause, and
Yeah,
you don't have an out.
time to go rent a pressure washer and start a new job.
Well, it's just that be careful of that, because
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah, for
um,
sure.
I honestly was not aware how oftentimes people are asked and or required to sign these
Hmm.
clauses. Just
Oh
that
yeah,
simple.
it's
Yeah.
been a long time since I've been asked to, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right. Well, that's
cool.
the topic of the day. And again, if you find yourself in that situation,
Yep.
put in there terms that are favorable to you.
Oh yeah.
And if the employer, will not allow you some of those terms, buyouts or top 10% or this, that, and the other, you might want to be extremely careful about taking that job.
Mm. And Paul, this is not legal advice. This is just good friendly advice. But what if somebody wanted actual legal advice? Who would they call? Would they call you guys, or do you have
Ghostbusters.
referrals? Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. No, I don't
Yeah.
do this. This was
Yeah.
just, like I said,
Top of mind,
I
something we
read
were
my
talking about.
Florida, well, you can't see it, but my Florida Law Weeklies, there was a
Yeah.
case in there and the two individuals that had called, I'm like, well, this is a good topic, because it is actually, something that occurs all the time, throughout, honestly, the
Yeah, it
United
does.
States.
Yeah.
And it's something to consider when you're taking a job and you're asked to sign a non-compete clause.
Yeah. Well.
I got to be honest, uh, I would not do it unless there's I would never sign a clause unless there's some form of buyout,
Mm.
some form of how do I get out of this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just that simple.
It almost seems like there shouldn't even be allowed to exist without some sort of buyout option.
Well, again, it's a contract,
Yeah.
and you can enter into Jason. You and I can
Yeah,
enter
that's
into
true.
we can enter into bad contracts. I say,
Yeah.
Jason, come paint my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Okay, how much do you want? And you say
Right.
$10. Okay,
Right.
and so then you're like, wait a minute, $10. This is a big house.
Right.
Sorry, here's $10. You're stuck with it. So it's a bad contract, but you entered into it, you signed it, you read it, and the argument that, well, it was a bad deal and I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Well,
Time to
yeah.
sell that client to someone.
Sorry about your luck, Chuck. But
Yes.
no, I don't do non-compete clauses. Yeah. There are lawyers. There would be a business lawyer
Okay.
that would do that. And it's funny. Like everything, I don't like paying for insurance. Right? It's a lot of money, but I'll be darned when something goes south. I'm glad I have it.
Yes.
I didn't like paying, for the lawyers I've had to utilize in the past, but I'm glad I did because it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. You may have to spend a few $100 to have a lawyer look at your contract or your non-compete clause to help you with language that protects you. But in the long run, it was money well spent.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's
Just
that
simple.
CYA moment.
It's like, Ubers and Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
People, oh, I'm okay. I can drive home. I've only had a few beers.
No, man.
It's a $10,000 mistake versus a $30 Uber ride.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, spend the $30.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah.
If you believe nothing else you hear from me, take the Uber, because
and that's good advice. So if it's your birthday weekend like it is Paul's and you're partying hard, make sure to take those Ubers.
Exactly. Or just stay home. But
yeah,
and I'll tell you, I have a book coming out. Crystal, Jason's wife's helping me write it. And one of the chapters is a friend of mine who literally was in the wrong place at the wrong time and spent time in prison because of it. Just that simple. I mean, the book talks about it, and so I'm not going to go into great detail, but it is the epitome of the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'll tell you, evidently, on Monday, I was waiting for Mr. Sparky to come to the house to look over some, give me a second opinion. But mind you, my first electrician was right. But either way, just a second opinion. And he was caught up in that crash where traffic had come to a stop right there at the Howard Frankenstein and Kennedy. Guy looks down at his phone. When he looks up, bam. All hell breaks loose. He killed 2 people. Now, whether or not he'll be charged with some kind of homicide based on looking down at his phone, probably not. But I can tell you this, if he had been drinking and driving, goodbye, 30 years in prison.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the same thing, you and I are driving down the road, maybe doing nothing wrong at all, but we're coming back from some establishment and had a few beers, and somebody on a cell phone drifts into your lane, hits you head on, they're at fault, but you have alcohol in your system, right?
Wow.
Remember, in Florida, it's not caused the accident, it's caused or contributed to. So I got off topic a little bit.
Yeah.
But utilize.
Yeah, I was trying to wrap it up.
Utilize Uber or Lyft on your birthday. How about that?
Yep.
All right. Well, that's it. Take us home. It's freaking hot. But
it is.
We're reaching the end of July. That leaves us August, another scorcher. But after that, God bless, it starts to cool down, and
one can hope.
All right.
One can hope. All right.
Jason and I are out.